before the end of the decade, we might have more Now You See Me movies than Ocean's movies. That makes me sad. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Now You See Me, Now You Don't. So Now You See Me, Now You Don't sees the original Four Horsemen team up with some new illusionists to take down Vanderberg, this lady who basically is using diamonds as a front for money trafficking, laundering, all that sort of good stuff, and they are using their magician skills to take down her empire. And despite what I said in the intro, I do enjoy these Now You See Me movies. I remember really enjoying them when they came out in theaters. I think that magicians using their sleight of hand skills, among other things, to rob banks, redistribute wealth, and sort of be a pain for the uber rich who are getting their money by nefarious means is a cool concept. I think that it leads to some cool heists. I just don't like it as much as Ocean's. This one does continue the trend of having some fun heists in these films. I think the movie is actually at its best when they are in the middle of these heists. I think that some of the tricks that they use and some of the sort of just magic techniques that are employed to sort of draw attention and misdirect people, it's always going to be fun. It's always going to be something that makes you sit there and go, oh, this is pretty cool. And the movie does a good job of even making the audience go, wait, how did they do that? No, there's no way. That's actual magic. There's no way. And then the film will peel back the curtain and show you, and you're figure out, oh, that's how they did that. Okay, that makes sense. That's cool. And it does a good job of sort of playing that seesaw where you go, no way, this has gone too far, and then back to, okay, no, this about evens out. This was cool. One of the things that this film does that I enjoyed the most was seeing the original Four Horsemen from the first movie on screen again. Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg always have pretty good chemistry. They've done these films and Zombieland together, so they're usually a pretty good duo. I really enjoyed seeing Isla Fisher back in the fold. I thought she was great in the first one, so it was really fun seeing her back as sort of this, I'm a mom now, I have kids, this is really crazy for me doing these heists type of character. And then Dave Franco is always fun. He is kind of in the, not background role, but he, in my opinion, is one of the least prominent of the horsemen in this one, but he's still fun in spurts when he comes around. I do also think that the pacing of this film is pretty strong. You never go too long without some sort of magic sequence, whether it's a heist or a sequence where the horsemen are kind of showing off for each other what they can do. Like I said, these films are at their strongest when they are leaning into the magic, the sleight of hand, the heists. And the movie does a good job of realizing that and spacing the movie out where there's never a point where you're going too long without one of these sequences. And so it does a good job of keeping the pedal to the metal, making the audience stay engaged by leaning into its strengths. Now, while the movie does have some really high highs in these sequences, and I do enjoy the original Horsemen, I do have some pretty big problems with the film. The first of these issues is the new trio of illusionists. Now, Justice Smith and Ariana Greenblatt, I think, do a pretty good job for the most part. They introduce new skills that the Horsemen didn't really have in their fold, and so I think that that's pretty fun. And for the most part, their characters are good, but they do lean a little bit into that Gen Z-isms where they just think that they're a little bit better than who has come before. And when you have that stacked up with established characters that the audience already likes, it makes you a little bit less attached to these new characters because they're kind of sticking their nose up at the people you already have a connection with. And I do think that Justice Smith and Ariana Greenblatt are the lesser of the three in that category, where they do it, but there is also some deference, that some of that I'm a big fan type of energy to them. So it wasn't super out of place or bad. But Dominic Sessa's character out of the three is the one that just didn't do it for me. Now, I'm not critiquing the performance. I thought the performance was good. I just think that the way the character was written was a little bit annoying. He is confrontational with basically all of the original Horsemen. He has that sort of I don't need you energy about him that there's not really a reason given for why he is so hostile other than he's just kind of a jerk. And it makes you not really connect with him all that much. And if they had given him an arc through the film that shows him sort of ending up where he is, you know, willing to work with them and willing to be a team player, it doesn't really happen. It just sort of, there's one conversation that he's not even really a big part of, and all of a sudden he's a rah-rah, go team, I'm going to do what I need to help guy. And it just didn't really jive with the type of film that this was. It just seemed like he was in there to introduce conflict for conflict's sake. And the same goes for the Horsemen, where a reason is given for why they've been gone for so long, why they were essentially broken up at the beginning of the film. And it's a pretty serious reason, and they're at each other's throats for a while, and not really trusting of one another, not really wanting to go through with this new heist plan. And then they just kind of forgive each other for no real reason. And it just sort of seems like that detail was in there just to stir the pot. Now, if they would have given most of them the reason that Isla Fisher's character had, where they just kind of moved on in life, I feel like that would have been better than the route that they actually went, which is this sort of manufactured conflict that doesn't really have a real resolution and it just goes away. Now, these movies also always have some sort of big reveal in them. And like most of the other ones, it just doesn't really do it for me. They do leave breadcrumbs for it, but it just doesn't really fit. It feels like a reveal or a twist for reveal's sake. And it just kind of unravels a lot of the movie for me. And I wish that some of these series didn't feel the need to do that all the time. These movies do it. A lot of Shyamalan movies do it. And when you have the ammunition and you have the script to fit in one of these big reveals, it can be great. It can be a huge proponent of a movie and propel it to being a good movie to a great movie. And this movie just doesn't really have the script for it. None of these movies really do, and I don't understand the thought process of we have to fit something like this into these movies. I don't think that it was necessary. I don't think that it really enhanced a ton of the movie. In fact, I think it actually detracts from certain aspects of the movie, and if you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But overall, something that just didn't really do it for me. Overall, while I did have some pretty major issues with this film, these movies are low ceiling, high floor type of films where even if you get a not so good one, the strength of the heists and of the magic stuff is going to give you at least some baseline enjoyment of the film, but they're never really going to be these barn burner top 10 film of the year type of flicks. And with that being said, I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. I think that at a baseline, I had fun. And that's what a night at the movies should be. Not every night at the movies needs to be this transformative experience. Sometimes you can go have fun, waste a couple hours, and not really get a whole lot out of the meat of the film, but still have a good time. So if you're looking for a fun little time at the theater, go see it. If not, stream it when it comes out on streaming. But it was an alright, fun little flick.